Hello, sunshine. Welcome to Be Visible with Veronica, the podcast where bold conversations and soul-aligned strategy help you awaken your most powerful self. I'm your host, Veronica Bond. Get ready to stop dimming your light, own your magic, and finally be so visible you can't be ignored. Let's get visible. Hello, sunshine. Welcome to Be Visible with Veronica. Last week's episode was a shining light on Mel Carr's nonprofit, and I hope you have an opportunity to go back and listen to how she is changing the lives of young girls between the ages of 16 and 18. But today, I want to share a story of resilience, of fortitude, and of pure chic sassiness. Our guest, Jessica Marriott, created multi-companies, and she is a seven-figure businesswoman. What I love about Jessica's story is how visibility continues to be something she strives for in her brilliant creativity as an entrepreneur. She has developed handbags. She's in the process of creating a beautiful, fun AI-driven ski boot. So for those of you out there who owns companies and you want to connect with her, please do. But it is my impact and mission on this planet to share these stories with you, to bring foresight, inspiration, and impact to your place of business, to wherever you're listening or watching the show, so that you know you are on the right path. And that's what Be Visible with Veronica is all about. So today, welcome, Miss Jessica.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Veronica. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And you're all the way here from Austin, Texas.
Yeehaw!
But you lived in Arizona for a little while.
Yes, for 18 years I lived in Arizona. I love Arizona. I'm so glad to be back. My daughter lives here, goes to ASU, and my sisters both moved here from Israel. And I have a gaggle of friends here too, right? So I'm so glad to be back. Oh, and then let's talk about the mountains, right? I miss Arizona, but I love Texas, so I'm very happy.
Well, we're so glad to have you here. You happen to be in town and had an opening today, and I couldn't think of a better transition from where we're at into the I think this will be episode number 21, where we're sharing the growth of business. And it's always my goal to highlight and promote women, whether you're a brand new, bold startup or you're a 7-8-figure earner and your journey is shifting, or you want to share your impact or give a tip to the listeners and viewers about who you are and what your mission is and how you started, so that somebody's sitting there going, oh my gosh, I'm going to take that tip and run with it, or thank you for that inspiration. And I truly wanted the audience today to hear from you, because I got a little peek into a 10-minute conversation you shared with a group yesterday, and I didn't know some of those stories. So you were talking about being neurodivergent in a school system that didn't really accept the way that you wanted to learn or you needed to learn, but your mom became an advocate for you.
Thank you, Mom. Yes. Early on, they figured out I had dyslexia, and back in the 70s, 80s, there were no accommodations for kids in school. And my mom she's not like a very aggressive person, assertive. She likes to just be a supporter. And so that's what she was for me. She showed up, and we went to the principal's office and said, Jessica needs to pick her own teachers. And the principal said, why would she get to pick her own teachers? That's an unfair advantage, because there were no accommodations back then. And so my mom said, because she learns differently. It will actually even the playing field for her. And now there's set accommodations with the American Disabilities Act in schools for kids because of her strength. Right? And so I got to pick my own teachers. which wasn't happening back then. And then I got to I mean, I'm a very hard worker, and it came from that need to persevere, because school was so the way that or still is, but there's still accommodations for it now, at least. It's a box, right? There's a certain way they want you to learn. And back in when Da Vinci was a kid, they had apprenticeships, and that's when dyslexics and neurodivergent people thrived, because you could go learn on the job. But now school systems, are creating employees and not
creatives, and really tapping into that
correct.
space.
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up, because my brother was born in '69. We lost him last year. It's part of the whole reason why this podcast is what it is right now, or TV show, I guess it is. But he was also neurodivergent, but he didn't have a diagnosis, and he had dyslexia, and school wasn't easy for him. But he, and learning about his life and what he did as an adult, and all these things that he did that were so creative, we learned that he had thousands of followers on this channel that he created about playing pool and tricks, and he'd mastered 45 of, I don't know, there's like 100 pool tricks on some number. I don't even know. But we have videos of him in his house and all these trick shots that he did, and I just love that. But you're right, there wasn't a space for that, and having your mom be an advocate for you created a path and started to blaze this entrepreneurship journey. And the very first company you launched was a handbag you created.
That was one of them. I mean, I obviously most entrepreneurs start when they're kids, right? It's just part of in our DNA. Yes, I wanted a beautiful leather handbag with functionality, and so I kept looking for it, right? That's what entrepreneurs do. They go and they look outside for it in the outside world, and I couldn't find it at the time. Now there are more, and so it was very humbly started with a wedding dress designer in Arizona, and it looked horrible. I still have it. It's so ugly, but that wasn't the point. The point was to get it to at least, that's how I kind of want it to look like.
Phase one. But our businesses are never right out of the box the first time.
100%.
And I think if people could realize that as women entrepreneurs, that perfect creates paralysis. And if you think it has to be perfect when you start out of the gate with the idea that you have, you will sit behind the gate waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yes.
And I love what you just shared there, how you created it and it was awful, and you have the original one, but it grew.
Yes.
So that you were the very first
boutique handbag line to be in Bloomingdale's, to get into Bloomingdale's. And part of that, and this is a tip I like to share with other entrepreneurs, is that I reached out to the CEOs of the department stores. And I didn't just cold call them. What I did is I did research on them to find commonalities, me and my team, to find commonalities between me and them, so that when I emailed them, I could find something that built instant trust, where they could say, like, for example, the CEO of Macy's at the time, Terry Lundgren, he graduated from University of Arizona. And I found that one of us in my team, we found that out. And then we also, in a different article, we found out he liked to help alum. So I put "Go Wildcats" at the end of the email, right? And so it just immediately created this instant trust. And the other thing is, Veronica, is what early on, because I had learned differently, it was about breaking rules, right? The rules didn't apply to me, which people don't get until they really get to know me, because they think I'm just being just challenging the system just to challenge it. But it's just early on, that's how my brain saw things, because I needed them to be different because of how my brain works. And now LinkedIn has dyslexia as a skill set that they look like it's a keyword. And Richard Branson and Made by Dyslexia, they're really trying to create new opportunities for dyslexics, because we change the world. People who are neurodivergent, we really see the world differently, like Steve Jobs and Richard Branson also. I mean, there's so many. Obviously, Elon Musk too, because he's neurodivergent. He's not dyslexic, but he's autistic. So I feel like I'm amongst some good people.
I love that you shared that, because I had a conversation with a client a while back, and we talked about 20-year-olds graduating from the universities, the colleges, moving into trade schools, and they immediately get put into a box where they are not allowed to be creative or encouraged to bring their best, brilliant minds to the forefront. And it's this whole construct around needing to earn their place in the company, in the business. And we were talking about it, and it actually came from an original conversation I had with my father. And he said, I think that, and he was corporate VP, so he had a place to speak about this. And he has 6 grandchildren and a great-grandchild. And he said 20-year-olds, 18 to 29 or 30, need to have a place where they're encouraged to develop, to think outside the box, to be disruptive. Those are the change makers. And our society doesn't create that space. It's this ladder effect of growth and life, and you have to work hard. And I'm a disruptor too. When I came into my business in marketing and advertising and in the world of social media and creative website design and all of these places as a strategist, the first conversation I have with my clients is, I'm not going to do things the way you've been told in your friend group or in your networking group or any of the other business strategists you might have spoken to. I do things different.
So good.
And you have to buy into the difference of how I see things, or you'll have some self-discovery as we work together.
I mean, the only way that we can progress, and not incrementally, but disruptively in a beautiful, I think, I love change. A lot of people like things to stay the same, but in order for it to really change, you need that disruption. You need that friction, right? Now, I don't mean creating a product. You want it to be frictionless,
right?
But the actual process of creating something new is going to be uncomfortable, and you have to learn to be uncomfortable. And I feel like we probably both at an early age learned how to be uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh, yes. I actually did a solo episode a couple weeks ago, and I talked about
I saw it.
growing
So
up
good.
being uncomfortable. And but in that uncomfortable space, it gives you the opportunity to create the solution. And when you're solutions oriented, that's where the biggest impact comes. And when you create that impact, that's where prosperity and abundance comes from.
Absolutely.
And I want to try to get away. I love the 7+ earner, the growth, because there's something about having the dollars flow in the bank account that allow you still in the world we live in to do more, be more. And money only makes you more of what you already are. So if you are this brilliant giver, kind, loving, and amazing, heart-centered, conscious creator in your life and with your family and the people around you, that's just gonna amplify who you are already. And if you're not, we've all met people who are not. And
who are spiraled down instead of spiraling up.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
And I would love women and young girls to hear that sisterhood, womanhood, female connections are not competition.
I agree. The only competition you have is with yourself, ultimately.
100%.
When I was a pharmaceutical rep, there were 500 applicants at this hotel in Dallas that we were all flown to interview, and I ended up writing a book about this. But I created this whole system of how to interview, and I knew during the interview I had the job. Just the way I was presenting myself and how they were responding. And then even in the whole room with 500 people, most people are like, oh my God, there's 500 people. I can't get this. But you have to flip, just always look at it in a way that is where you're going to benefit, and most of the time you will. So yeah.
We all bring our own USPs,
Yeah.
right? We have these unique selling propositions, and we
Yes.
have to first
Yeah.
look in the mirror and sell ourselves.
Ourselves.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when you find somebody who might be in the same lane as you, how do you collaborate with them? Right? How do you grow with them? How do you lock arms and maybe learn something that from them that they had an obstacle around that helps you, and then you share, and there's this beautiful flow of energy that happens, and then the growth happens to both of you.
Yeah.
And I just want us to get back to that space where when you walk into the room of a collaborative cohort of women, whether you're networking or you're in a classroom or you're in school, you're in a sorority, you're in a corporate office, the other women in that space and young women in that space are not your competition.
They're not.
The person on Instagram that you're trying to compete with because they have 1 million more viewers than you is not your competition.
Absolutely not.
Be who you are.
Yes, I agree with you. I mean, that reminds me of why I'm like the foundation of my company, Forward Thinkers. It's about collaboration. It's not competition is a very masculine construct. And I love competition in certain aspects with sports.
Or with yourself.
Right.
Because we've
correct.
talked about that.
Yes. I love creating little games for myself to beat my own things that, my own personal bests. But at the same time, I feel like if you decide to collaborate more, like what we're doing right now, right? We're collaborating. It lifts us up, but also it helps other people be motivated, and it just creates a better synergy in the world versus you just feeling like, because then you're siloing yourself and you're not. There's a book called Who Not How, and by Dan
Sullivan.
Yeah, Sullivan, and also there's there's a second author because he's all about collaboration, and he wrote that. He gives this one sheet, and he says, "Okay, let's collaborate. I don't want to write
the best
book."
books ever.
Yeah,
and the
such a good
Audible is so good because you hear both of them talk about the story of how they wrote that chapter. And so it's not just them reading their chapters, but they give you some insight on the back end. And I love that Audible does that now with these amazing books. It's so good. I wish I could come up with the name. You guys are going to put the second author's name in the show notes or the comments. I know you will.
Kennedy, I think it's the last name, but I don't know.
Sure?
I feel like it is, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I totally know this book, and I've actually heard this individual. Oh, what is his name? It'll come to us.
I mean, ultimately, the whole point of the book is that you not do things on your own. At the first chapter, they talked about what's the famous basketball player? I'm totally trying. Bald.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, exactly. They talked about,
wait, there's a few. What age are we that you would be
Michael
talking
Jordan,
about?
and that he did not thrive until Phil, what's the coach?
Knight?
No, Phil Knight is from
Is
Nike.
it Nike? Who?
All right, whatever. The coach of the
Bulls.
Chicago Bulls. When he put together, he added
Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson. That's it. Look at us women, right?
We're so good. Yes.
When he put together the team, it didn't all happen all at once. He put obviously Pippen and some other players, and then Jordan was able to thrive because it's about the who's that are in your life, because you can accomplish more together than you can on your own. And
So I love that. I want to take this into one, highlight that tip you said. When you're emailing somebody, nothing drives me more crazy than when I get an email from an assistant that says, Sandra Smith wants to be on your podcast and or on your TV show. It's just this generic, non-relational conversation. And I just shared with somebody yesterday when we were at our networking event, and it was about, I don't care how many the Be Visible with Veronica show reaches. I will always personally reach out to my guests. I will always reach out to my sponsors. There will always be I'll always be me. And that's I think sometimes we get lost in the building of the people around you, because you even mentioned team, but you share that vision with your team and you grow, and you have to have the right people around you. So I love that you shared that tip. The second thing I want to make sure we focus on is your company and where it's at right now, what your goals are for it, and as you're forward thinking and collaborating, what are you hoping to accomplish with this beautiful think tank and beyond that you're creating?
So first, and it's on the website at forwardthinkers.com, and it's
forwardthinkers.com,
and it's 2 I's for impact and innovation.
And so it's THII
yes
NKERS, and we'll put that in the show notes.
Yes, thank you, Veronica, for that. I appreciate that. The whole so I'm creating a new business model, which I believe Harvard will eventually showcase and do a case study on. And it's, instead of siloed entrepreneurs and siloed corporations, corporations are lifespan is shrinking. It used to be that they would be around for 100 years, and now they're 6 years. And so companies, mainly what they focus on is what they did well last year and not innovating for what's next year, what's next. And so that's what my business foundation is joining forces, entrepreneurs, and collaborating with corporations. And so I'm starting with me as an entrepreneur. And the first industry I want to disrupt is with the ski boot industry. Buckles were added to ski boots in 1950s. And they really haven't been evolved. They've stayed the same. They've been plastic for...
I mean, they've upgraded the quality of the ski.
Yeah.
But the boots...
Totally. Right. I mean, they're more cushiony, but... Yes. And so I want to create the first adaptive AI tech ski boot. And what that means is that inside the boot, which are uncomfortable no matter how much money you spend, even if you get Surefoot, which are custom, your feet, ankles, and calf, your body changes every 7 days. And so this, with an app, you'll be able to adjust for your specific feet, ankles, and calves. There's technology in there. I've partnered with an industrial designer. And then, then they'll be fit, and they'll be a hug, not a squeeze like they are now. And then with AI, when you're carving, when you're turning, it will give a little more, not pressure, but like comfort.
So it's adapting as it's being used.
Correct.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So in the process, so what made you decide to go, you have this vast background. So what made you say, it has to be the ski boot? The ski boot is what dropped in a dream. Like, tell us how that became the story.
Well, for most entrepreneurs, you experience something and you're uncomfortable, and then you want to create it. And so instead of me creating one company after another anymore, that's why I'm creating this umbrella company. And so I couldn't walk for a year, which I mentioned yesterday at your event, and at eWomen Network. And I've always been an athlete my whole life. I swam competitively from 7 years old all through high school for my high school team, and then started running and lifting weights. And when I couldn't walk for a year because I had breast implant illness, my breast implants were toxic for me. They're not toxic for everyone. My body was rejecting them. And anyway, so when I was going back to sport, because that's my go-to to feel good about myself, and I, of course, went back to skiing. And I was like, wait a minute, these are uncomfortable, and they were uncomfortable before. My kids are complaining about them, and watching everyone else walk around like, robots in them.
Right.
So I want to change all aspects of them, and so that's how it came to me, of how to improve it. Because the other thing I recognized when I went down this path is that my Achilles are very narrow, and so no matter how tight they are in how boots are now, my Achilles is always lifting out, that's your power and your strength in skiing when you're turning. And so mine lift out, and then I feel like out of control. And there's they're so tight, but they're not accommodating my feet, ankles, and calves. And I know, there's everyone's feet change and swell, and there's all different experiences.
Of course, especially day 1 ski versus day 3 ski versus day 5 ski.
Yes, totally. And then I want to change the whole experience putting it on because you're in these hot clothes, and you start putting them on, you start sweating.
And you're sweating and you're peeling off the legs.
It sucks. It's so uncomfortable. And then also walking in them. And there are a few companies who have tackled that, walking so that I'm not going to explain the whole thing.
No,
right
but
now,
I love that you had this idea, because that is what entrepreneurs do. They find a problem that they're going through. Every single woman that I've ever met in my 38 years of building businesses, when you talk to them about their origin story, and this is also so powerful to make sure you have on a landing page or you have on your LinkedIn, you have it somewhere so that people feel this origin piece. And it's not comfortable to talk about ourselves as
vulnerable,
women. And it's very vulnerable. But this story right now really can adapt and evolve in what you're doing. So where are you in the process of this beautiful new technology you want to create?
So I do have, like I said, I worked with an industrial designer. I have that part of it. And so what I want now, I'm looking for a ski boot manufacturer to partner with, who's already established. I'm also open to an ancillary company a snowboard company that wants to create ski boots and really wants to have an impact, or even a smaller or a mid-size, not smaller, but a mid-size ski boot company who wants to level up their game and has the financial ability to do that, because this is going to take some this is, to me, I look at
it's going to be some capital investment to get it off the ground.
Right.
But then the payoff on the back end, oh my gosh, can you imagine how you'll disrupt that industry?
Yes, and I already have how I want to affect the whole ecosystem. There's 20 different industries I want to affect and disrupt, but right now I'm focusing on the ski boot. And the whole point is they're gonna keep the majority of sales. I'm gonna take a portion of it, and then I'm gonna go on to my next project. Will I still be available to them? Absolutely. But I instead of again doing one thing, I want to be I feel like. I know it's very controversial, Elon Musk, but I like that he helped people understand me more, that I like to do different things. And so this way, this umbrella company, I'll partner with I want to disrupt minivans. There's something within them that I want to help mothers who are at the forefront of driving minivans.
Yes.
With some tech in the front for people in the back.
Can we also please create a car that fits a woman's handbag that doesn't have to, and a businesswoman's handbag that doesn't have to be on the seat next to her?
Yeah.
How many times, they have big trucks for men in construction and all these big industries, and you open up their big center console and it flips open, you put a laptop on there and they can work from their, and I'm sitting there going, I've got my bag with my laptop and all the things, and
it's more work.
My husband came into our garage. It is so hot in Phoenix right now, and I pull into the garage and I have my air conditioning on, and I'm in the car and I'm talking. I have my laptop balancing on my beautiful little Sunshine, my Jeep, and it's sitting there, and I've had to push my seat all the way back and my steering wheel up, and I'm talking, but I'm in a flow. My car sometimes becomes the best place that I think and come up with these ideas. And I have moments where I get inspired for a client and I'm sitting down taking notes. So I pull in. He comes out of the house and he looks at me and he says, seriously, your office, I call it my creation station, is upstairs. And what are you doing? It's hot. The air conditioning, got the car running. Now the garage is extra hot. He said somebody need, and so please add that to one of your 20 on your list.
It's in the list.
Make it a top 10, please.
I love that. I feel like, part of why you have those moments happening is because you're capture, or no, what's it called? Not captured. You're having to stay in there, right, in your car, and you can't do anything else yet. Right, eventually you're going to be able to do more because cars are going to be totally automated for everyone. But it's a captured audience, right? And so you're sitting there and you're able to think. I really give myself permission in the mornings, not every morning, because I have a routine usually. But there's some mornings that I allow myself, when stuff is starting to flow through me, that I daydream and stay in bed. I don't jump out of bed. And I give myself permission to do that.
Well, I was just going to ask, as we're closing out this episode, one of the questions I love to ask our guests is, what do you give yourself permission to do as an entrepreneur that helps you be in a flow or step into your power or create a pause? So I love that you said that.
Just ended on, it's just so important to allow yourself to have those moments, because that's when. So I heard this amazing quote that when you pray, you're speaking to God. But when intuition comes to you, it's God speaking to you. And so many people ignore that quiet message, right? It's so, I love it. And so if you give yourself permission to have quiet time, then God will speak to you more. And I mean, obviously you can say, tell me, I want to hear this. But instead of forcing it, just being still, it comes to you. And partly why I have garnered this knowledge is because I couldn't walk that year. And all I could do was journal. And so it really, I know that's, as Tony Robbins would say, it happened for me.
100%. You know, when I ruptured my Achilles, speaking of Achilles,
yes.
I had just hired a business coach. You can go back to our very first episode where we talked about it. But I laid in bed. Mm-hmm. I was in bed for 6-8 weeks with my foot up. And I was like insanity. And then I dropped in.
Totally. At first you're like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
And we just moved into our beautiful dream home. So my view is precious. And I just bead. Like I just was in the being of it. And I love that we got to that space and we shared that with our viewers and listeners today. But how can people connect with you? If they want to know more about what you're doing, this new disruption in business, they have a contact for you. And we'll also put it in the show notes, but go ahead and share it with people.
Well, obviously Forward Thinkers with 2 I's, like you said, THI. I'm with my dyslexia. I need to write it down, but IINKERS. I think I spelled that right.
Yeah.
.com, and then also on Instagram at JR Marriott,
So that's how they can connect with you. So every guest on the Be Visible with Veronica show receives a Hello Sunshine gift from me. So I just have a little something for you here. So thank you for coming. And I wanted to be conscious of you going on an airplane. So back home.
Thank you.
So it's usually in a big, beautiful box, but I know you can't take the box with you. But
I can totally wear that also on the airplane. Thank you.
Jessica,
I appreciate you so much.
Oh my gosh, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here with us today. You really are creating an impact in the world. And I want to talk more about forward thinkers and how we can continue to collaborate.
Yes.
So if you loved this episode and you found something really juicy in here and you want to understand if your company and you are being visible, I have a gift for you and put it in the show notes. It is a quiz called the Visibility Scorecard. So if you go to veronicabon.com /visibility-scorecard, and again, we'll put it in the show notes. So you guys go take a peek wherever you listen to the podcast or on YouTube where you're watching, and you can answer 13 questions in 3 minutes to gauge your visibility and how you're showing up in the world with the impact you want to make. Next week, we will be sharing some more juicy conversations with our incredible guests that I'm so fortunate to be interviewing. So stay tuned for next Thursday. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning in to Be Visible with Veronica. If today's episode sparked something in you, share it, tag me, and pass it on. Your presence has power, and the world is better when you let it be seen. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and keep showing up as the unstoppable force you were born to be. I'll see you next time.